Hi, everybody. I'm Ed Gurwitz, a past chair of MKP USA and chairman of the nominating committee for the MKP USA Board. And we're here today to invite you to consider putting your hat in the ring for one of the offices, and particularly the office of chair-elect on the MKP USA Board. And I've asked Boysen Hodgson, the Director of Communications for MKP USA, and Paul Samuelson, the current chair, to join me and give you an idea of what it is we're inviting you into. So, Boysen, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. So as Ed said, I'm Boysen Hodgson, Communications and Marketing. So the reason that we got together here is we had a conversation in the lead organizational circle about this position, this role, chair-elect. And we engaged in a really active dialogue about what goes into this role, what's it like to be in the role, what's it like to go through the process. And these guys had some just beautiful things to say about what it's meant to them being in the role, how this has landed, and the kind of richness that they've gotten out of it. So the first thing I want to say is, let's go right at the stuff that we hear out in the project, right? Oh, the chairmanship. Oh my God, you're just going to get steamrolled. You're going to get rolled over by it. You're going to get wiped out by the role. Having been around 15 years ago, when I think that happens sometimes, let's go to what it's like today. So, Ed, why don't you describe the chair's role, and then we'll go to Paul for what it's like to be in it.
Great. Well, when I took over the chair's role 2 years ago or 3 years ago, but particularly when I moved from chair-elect into the chair, an awful lot of people gave me this kind of wry congratulations, like, congratulations, I guess, or congratulations and I'm sorry. And I realized that the reality of this role versus the perception that's out there are very far apart. The chair's role, yeah, there's work involved. Sometimes there's considerable work involved. But the main thing, and Julian Devereaux, another past chair, said this to me when I took on the role. He said the main thing you have in this role is an unprecedented opportunity to bless men. And sometimes that blessing is an acknowledgement and a celebration, and sometimes it's, look, I got to talk to you about something because what you're doing isn't working, and other times it's blessing them by inviting them to take something on that maybe they don't think they're quite up to, but I know they can do. So I really want to change that perception. This 3 years in this role, chair-elect, chair, and immediate past chair, have been 3 of the best years of my life. I've really had some huge opportunities, some great fun, gotten a lot done, and feel like I've made a difference in the national leadership of an organization that I truly love and that's made a huge difference in my life. I'll let Paul address the nuts and bolts, but that's the grease.
Beautiful. Paul.
Yeah, I want to tag a little bit on to Ed and just let you know that I will share with you my personal experience, both last year as the chair-elect and then this year as the chair. I felt really very called into this position, felt like it was really something that matched me and something that I wanted to do, but it wasn't without trepidation based on all the stuff I'd heard. Overwhelm, frustration, not any time to be with your family, all those different things that of course are important to me, which I'm sure they're important to you all out there. That's not been the case. Yep, it's busy, there's a lot of stuff going on, but it's something that's so deeply called for inside of myself and the people that have been in this role. It's something that I get to say, I get to do this job. I get to be a part of this organization. I get to be a part of moving it forward and helping those who are engaged in it. The blessing piece is just a huge, huge part of it in this role, because whatever I've been to face-to-faces or on different circles or talking to men on the phone, I get to see what's going on in the project everywhere. I get to hear what these men's experience is. I get to experience it with them. And that's a blessing to me, as well as me being able to bless them for the difference they're making in the organization. So this is, work, of course. Everything we're doing at every level of MKP is work. The work that we're doing is changing men's life, and in so trying to change the culture and the world we live in. So of course, there's a lot of work to be doing around that, and a lot of heaviness can be there with that. But believe me, there's way more joy for me in this, way more experience for me to know that I'm actually making a difference in the world I live in something that means a lot to me. And what I know is every man I talk to, once they've been through the weekend, something kind of stirs inside of them to want to be a part of this. So if you have an interest, if you have a desire, I'm happy to talk to you about it. I won't pull any punches, but it's really not what I heard when I came in. Maybe part of that's because we have this structure, 3 chairs, and we divide it up amongst ourselves, so none of us are, overburdened. The chair itself has the lead role, but we share all the different parts of it together. So it's a shared process where we get to build the relationship between the 3 of us as well. I think that's kind of what I got, and more if you have any questions.
That's great. So from an outsider perspective here, I'm going to ask a couple of questions just about structure for MKP USA. So we're a nonprofit organization, we're 501c3, but we're different than some other 501c3s in the way that we're structured. So Ed, I want to go back to you to just have you describe, do we have an executive director? How's the organization put together?
So yes, we are different. First of all, we're much more. I've worked with a lot of nonprofits. We're much more volunteer focused and volunteer based than most of the organizations I've worked with. I mean, if you take an organization of comparable size and scope, the Sierra Club, they have a huge paid staff running the organization, and volunteers kind of operate at the local level. We have 9 people, full-time staff, and everything else is run by volunteers. We don't have an executive director. Furthermore, we run using a system you probably heard of called holacracy that is really diffuses authority and diffuses decision-making throughout the organization. So that, as Paul said, the chair, and we've established a custom that the chair is the lead of the lead organizational circle, which is the governing body of the whole organization. And that's the chair's job, is to lead. Most of the actual work that gets done by volunteers in various roles, and the chair certainly is consulted and carries our opinion as chair. Our view carries a lot of weight, but at the same time, we're not the executive director. We're not simply ruling by hierarchy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that further, Paul talked about the 3-chair system. What Paul and I, and now Donovan Ray, the chair-elect, who couldn't be here on this call, what we've established is really that we work together. We work in partnership. The last word is Paul's. Next year, the last word will be Donovan's. We also consult with past chairs and other leaders in the organization, so that it's a chance to really lead by collaboration.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to add just for a second. The other piece to this working the way it works is the real strength in the relationship between the board, i.e. the chair structure, and all the staff and all the leadership that is in the project. We're all doing this together. I don't do anything without consulting a staff person that is involved, connected to, or a part of whatever the decision is about. it's a wonderful, wonderful family. It's a wonderful, you know, you use the term team, but it's more than a team because of the depth of what we're doing. And I think I just needed to say that. It's really important to talk about how we all work together.
Yeah, really nice. And one of those employees of the Mankind Project USA, I just want to throw out that it's not just the 3 chairs that I end up seeing on meetings. It's 6 chairs, 7 chairs. You know, we still got Julian Devereaux, we've still got Mike Elser involved, we've still got Robert Powell connected, we've still got, you know, even all the way back, David Carr, like guys who have been around.
Jose Mondello.
Jose Mondello, still connected, active in the organization. So we get to see this kind of distributed leadership and connection. So both
and those past chairs, by the way, those past chairs are really, Ed spoke to this at some level. They really meet with us. We built a piece of every other week we meet with past chairs to just kind of throw stuff out. What did you do in this situation? What do you think about this situation? It's an ongoing connection to this. Once you're in this role, you get to be a part of this group and this organization as long as you want. And most men just don't want to not keep being involved. So
there's a part of the invitation that kind of says, when you step into this role, you have support. When you step into this role, like you've got what it takes, man out there who's looking at this, thinking about this, to step into the conversation and be supported. So both of you guys have been leaders in your own lives, leaders in business, elected officials, like all of these things. So I'm going to ask you individually, Paul, what's something that you've really learned about your leadership as a result of being in the chair role?
Well, you know, it's really about going through the weekend. And it's really about being in iGroups. What I've learned is how I can come from a deeper place inside myself, and it's safe. And I can do that work from a deeper place. This isn't coming all out of my head. It's coming out of my heart first. And my head gets to have the tools to do the work that comes out of my heart. And this organization, from my perspective and from my experience, is that organization. It's an organization that's changing lives by working with people from our hearts to their hearts in a deeper, deeper connection. So I've learned how to do this from a much deeper place than I have before.
Thank you very much. And Ed, how about you? So you led multiple organizations. What's something you've really learned about yourself as a leader through the chair?
I learned something that I've actually taught in my work on leadership development to other people, but had never fully achieved myself, which was to lead through influence rather than authority or force or, you know, politics or all the things that traditionally leaders do. I've led a number of nonprofits and had to deal with boards, and it was always political. It was always how to get around this or around that, rather than to collaborate, make my thoughts and opinions known, and trust that the wisdom of the group would come up with a smarter answer than the smartest person in the room could have come up with.
And I'm going to stick with you, Ed. So to come up, and this is off the cuff here, come up with 3 words that you would like to use to describe the man who you want to see step up for chair-elect.
Committed, collaborative, and unstoppable.
Thank you. And how about you, Paul? What are 3 words you would use to describe the man to step up for the chair-elect?
Someone who's passionate, somebody who is visionary, and somebody who is deeply connected with their deeper selves. That would be it. Somebody who really comes from their heart.
There you go.
That's why I hate going first. The next guy always sounds better.
And what I also just heard is, having been with both of you as chairs, you just shared reflections of who you are as leaders also in 3 words that you presented.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
there's a beautiful, the fullness of who you are gets to express through the role in a space where you're supported. You get to be part of something really special in the organization. And if you're a leader in your life already, this is an opportunity to step into a much different kind, maybe for you, different kind of leadership through the organization. So
I
Chair-elect,
want to add one thing, boys.
yeah, go ahead.
To the men who are watching this, if you're considering it and if you're relatively new to the organization, consider it down the line. Get yourself some experience in your area, in MKP USA, in various roles that are available, so that you get to know the organization. But if you're a man who's been around the organization and you've had some experience and you've been successful as an area leader or a community leader or on the national level, take a deep breath and put your hat in the ring. We need you. And I'm going to be presumptuous and say, you need us to develop your leadership.
As Ed and I have done in our leadership so far, I'm going to flip that coin just a little bit. Ed and I are both very new to the organization compared to those who we followed. I was initiated in 2013, and Ed, I think was yours 2014, or yeah. And so we're fairly new, but we do have a lot of other leadership experience. So what I feel good about is if you're new and have the passion to move into this leadership position, and I mean it coming from your heart, not just from your head and just because you want to have a job like that. If you feel that, there is the support around you to fill in the holes that you may not have in terms of knowledge about the organization. There's something special about fresh eyes. I will say that fresh eyes are really important. I will say having people have your back who've been in the organization for 10, 15, or 20 years really, really makes it work. So if you feel ready, bring it on.
Thanks, guys. That's it. So
if you're interested, contact me directly, Ed Gurowitz, EDGUROWITZ, at mkp.org, and I'll tell you how to get into the application and the interview process.